Let's bring in right now Brandon Daniels. He is a president of Exiger, and they help companies and governments deal with the supply chain issues. At least Brandon helped lead the supply chain risk management in the government's Joint Acquisition Task Force COVID-19 response. So this is a guy who knows what he's doing, and he knows his way around a supply chain, which has really been one of the key issues over the last year and a half, the last 2 years for markets. Brandon, thanks so much for joining us. Last night we heard from General Motors CEO Mary Barra that things are looking better in the second half. We had a guest on earlier this morning who said, I don't believe that. What do you think? What's it look like from your perspective?
Yeah, thank you both for having me on. I mean, I think there are some macro issues that are going to continue to plague the supply chains even into the second half, right? I mean, GM is beating its forecast despite the microchip issues that we've seen over the last couple of years. But, that's good risk management. That's good supply chain management in the midst of a storm. And that storm is going to continue. You've got major issues with Russia, which is a major fuel producer, right? We've got issues with China. Their lockdowns related to Omicron and potential additional variants are going to continue to drag on. And then you've got the 800-pound gorilla, which are the geopolitical issues that are happening right now, right? I mean, between Australia and China, between the U.S. and China, you're seeing everything from lithium to kids' toys being affected in terms of potential supply. So I think that these macro issues are going to continue to drag out the supply chain struggles that we've seen.
Hopefully kids aren't playing with lithium, though.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. Those two things shouldn't go together.
No. Brandon, when this first started, this whole supply chain issue at the beginning of the pandemic, there was definitely a call for onshoring more of the supply chain on U.S. shores. Is that something that really can happen, will happen? How do you think about that?
I think that will happen. I mean, there are really important strategy and think tank organizations that are pushing the U.S. federal government to think about reshoring. It doesn't necessarily mean just onshoring, right? It's the U.S. and its allies banding together to collectively onshore and create free markets that are not subject to China's influence and command and control policies. So I think you will actually see reshoring and onshoring. I think it'll come in three ways. I think you'll see rare earth materials get reshored and onshored. I think you'll see advanced packaging and technology, specifically hardware, get reshored and onshored. And then I think you'll also see, a redistribution of how we think about recycling. One of the biggest sources of raw materials or materials that can be used in everything from medical devices to Xboxes are the things that we've already thrown away: the plastics, the silicon materials, the copper, so on and so forth. So I think that's going to play a big role in our future, and it also plays a big role in sustainability, which is another hot topic.
All right, thanks so much for joining us. We love to talk about the supply chain here, so you are pretty much our ideal guest. Brandon Daniels, president of Exiger, with really some amazing experience in the sector. He served on the Forbes Technology Council. He was president of Clutch, VP and global head of legal service, CPA Global, and also he graduated from George Washington University.